Thanks for inviting me to speak today. I'm going to whip through this fairly quickly because 95% of the people whose faces I've seen will know more about this than I do. The other two people I'm happy to have a coffee with and talk to. First of all, I'd like to welcome Gloria Hargrave, seen in the audience. Gloria is a member of the Emerald District Emerald Club in District 9810. She's also the RAM National Secretary and currently standing in as the Southern Region RAM Supervisor. So basically, any questions will go straight to Gloria. So thank you for including me. And because I'm team tagging with Tony, I'm going to fly through this, but I will ask questions about the last 3 slides, so watch out. You all know about malaria, so that's okay. Look, in the last 120 years, there has been some movement with malaria, but as you can see, there's still a significant amount of the world covered with endemic malaria. The red bits here are chloroquine-resistant malaria. The green are chloroquine-sensitive malaria, and the yellow are multi-resistant malaria. So we've still got a huge way to go with regards to conquering malaria. In 2018, an estimated 228 million cases of malaria occurred. That was 23 million less than 10 years prior to that. The most people at risk are, the people most at risk are pregnant women and children under 5. Of the approximately 400,000 people who died in the world last year from malaria, 61% of them were children under 5. What I'm supposed to be talking about is Rotarians Against Malaria, which is RAM. It's a volunteer-run organisation working to eliminate malaria. It's a project of the 21 Australian Rotary districts, or it might be 20 Australian districts now, I'm not sure. And it's an activity under the Rotary Australian World Community banner, and that's known colloquially as RAWCS, for those 2 of you who may not have heard this before. We have been invited to, RAM that we've been involved with has been covering Timor-Leste up here in the top of Australia, and Western Timor has just come on board as well with RAM. Papua New Guinea has got the vast majority of malaria in our area. We've had programs with them. Solomon Islands, and recently Vanuatu has come on board. RAM was founded in 1996 by the World Health Organization and Rotary International. And as you can see, there's a stellar cast of partners on that list, including the World Health Organization and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and some very well-known Australian organizations. The RAM elimination strategies, you know, it's easy to think that, and I think that the Peter Sindri was saying, you know, if you club together, you could do things better. Well, this is the same sort of thing here. If we buy 1,000 nets and send them to an island, it'll do something. But what actually happens is the RAM elimination strategies is where RAM works with the government in the partner country and aligns their activities with the National Strategic Plan for Malaria Control and Elimination. The National Strategic Plan of the RAM partner countries are then aligned, or are already aligned, with the World Health Organization Global Technical Strategy for Malaria 2016 to 2030. And so that helps the issue of, as I said, 1,000 mosquito nets being bought and thrown at an island. There's actually a lot of strategy and planning involved between all of the players. The RAM program itself is aimed at breaking the cycle of infection. Meanwhile, in the background, people are working hard to come up with new treatment and new vaccines. The major results for eliminating mosquitoes or reducing them come from treated mosquito nets, residual insecticidal spraying, and controlling larvae in breeding grounds. There's obviously a lot of other inputs as well, but those are the 3 things that are getting the most results at the moment. Unfortunately, there's a resurgence of malaria right throughout the world. These photos here are in Papua New Guinea, where there's been a real resurgence of drug and insecticide resistance, diagnostic failure. A lot of it's due to human behaviour, not using the nets properly, or basically, as you can see, maybe not being the workers not being able to reach the villages because of the conditions, but also the people who might be going to gather up their quota of mosquito nets not being able to get back to their village. And as you can see, this is how they're carrying their mosquito nets back to their villages. Just to refer to the effect on malaria elimination of COVID-19, Bill Gates spoke recently on the Goalkeeper Report 2020, and flagged that the worst case scenario for malaria due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic is, and he cited Weiss and company who did the statistical modelling that revealed that the pandemic could reverse the gains made over the last 2 decades in malaria elimination, and could almost double the malaria deaths. Now that's a frightening thought. Within the above context, Peter Sands, who's the Executive Director of the global organisation that fights AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria, which is the largest global donor of malaria elimination, he recently said, "We are at an inflection point. We can surrender our guard and have made, we can surrender the," I've got something in the thing, I can't even read it. We have made progress, and we can surrender that progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals to be sharply reversed, but we can also act with speed and scale. And I think that this came out in the quarterly RAM newsletter that came out only this week. And I think that what we need to do is think about what it is we're going to do. The RAM Southern District, which includes all of Victoria and Tasmania and a small part of New South Wales, has been invited or requested to direct funds to Vanuatu. The reason that this is done is that by getting focus on an area, you're more likely to get results. Why Southern District excludes Tasmania is because they have already been working with one of the programs, and I think it's Papua New Guinea or Solomon Islands, so they're excluded from this. Vanuatu comprises about 80 islands with about 300,000 population. It's one of the few countries with no reported COVID-19, which is fantastic for it. But part of the way that they've achieved that is that in March they closed their borders to prevent COVID-19 coming in. As of 10 days ago, there were still no reports of COVID-19 in Vanuatu over its 84 or 80 islands. However, it does depend on tourists for most of the livelihood of the population, which obviously is creating a problem. The other problem for it is that in April, Cyclone Harold wreaked widespread destruction, knocking down many dwellings, but also wrecked a lot of the plantations of their food stuff. Some of their animal stock were also killed. So Vanuatu's got a real challenge on its hands. However, at least it's avoided COVID-19. In September, so last month, 2 provinces were visited by people representing the RAM team, and from those visits resulted the development of a plan and a budget for the upcoming funded baseline mapping areas. District 9820 and 9810 applied for a global grant at the end of June, and if successful, the grant will serve to establish and equip the National Vanuatu team of trainers for the indoor residual spraying program in Vanuatu. And I think that's what Weiss meant and Bill Gates meant by speed and scale. Obviously, we have to act quickly to stop malaria increasing its resurgence by focusing one southern area of Rotary clubs on Vanuatu. We will be able to address a greater scale of spraying of huts and dwellings. I think we need to ask ourselves the questions: how much can we do? Linda Humphries is leading the charge because she's named this project as her DG's Partners project for this year. So good on you, Linda. And the question to you all is, what can your club do and what can you do? The opportunities that exist, you can nominate a representative or two from each cluster to support the sharing of information and encouragement of fundraising. You just need to contact me, and my email address and phone number are there. Or alternatively, or as well as, if you could discuss with your clubs and communities the opportunities to raise funds to help end malaria in Vanuatu for good. Donations can be made by going to that address there, and that will be up on the YouTube when Mark puts it up. This is the second last picture. I hope I've gone fast enough. This is an example of what we will be spraying inside of to try and keep the mosquitoes away. There'd be a family of 7 or 8 living in a hut that size. And that's why they also need mosquito nets, because basically it's a fairly parlous state that they're in over there with their mosquitoes. My final thing is what Mark alluded to before, the primary schools video competition, which is run throughout the southern district, and also, well, actually it's not, it's run through primary schools everywhere, and certainly our partners in RAM. And this year, Port Vila, which is the capital of Vanuatu, the French primary school won the 2.5-minute video competition. It is absolutely classic. It's references there, but as Mark and I agreed, we'll play it right at the end, because I want to give airspace to Tony. So thanks very much for listening.
Fantastic, thank you for that. And sorry, Gloria, I didn't see you sneak in there. So, Gloria Hargraves is the RAM National Secretary, and she is currently filling in the southern area. So if any people have a real interest in looking at the malaria situation and want to get more involved, contact either Libby or Gloria, and I'm sure they'll be happy to talk to you. And as Libby alluded to, here is an Anopheles mosquito. Libby alluded to Linda's Partners project. So I know several clubs have already heard the story from Linda, and several clubs have already made donations to the Partners project. So I just encourage you all to keep on with that, because from the Vanuatu, or from the malaria conference the other day, we heard of another very interesting stat. Mosquitoes kill more people in one day than sharks have in 100 years. And we know how many shark attacks there have been in recent days. So just put that into consideration. I can see Gloria's got her hand up there to quickly say something.
I just want to say a very big thank you to the District 9820, and especially Libby, who's your district RAM supervisor, just giving the chance to raise awareness of what RAM is and does. It's been brilliant, so thank you so much.
No worries, thank you, Gloria, and please stay around, because at the end we will have questions and answers, and between you and Libby, I'm sure we'll get any questions on RAM answered. So now for the second half of this one, past District Governor Tony, over to you.
Thanks very much, Mark, and hello to everybody online. This is really just an extension of what Libby said, but it's an area that clubs and people around the district will not be aware of. The Global Fund is based in Geneva in Switzerland and supports the fight against tuberculosis, AIDS and malaria. And it's the world's largest financier in the prevention of these three diseases. Every 3 years they have what's called a replenishment seminar or conference. And this year it was held in Lyon in France, and it was sponsored by President Macron. And it is set up to fight, was the theme, to secure 14 billion US dollars for the Global Fund. And that is to fund the Global Fund through 2021 and 2023. The Raux RAM, represented by past District Governor Di Mason from a district in Queensland, District 9600, pledged 12 million US dollars for anti-malarial activities in 4 southeastern countries. There were Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, Timor-Leste and Vanuatu, which Libby mentioned earlier on. Mark, can we see that video, please?
All right, now let's hope my machine's going to play nicely.
Maybe this is the time to talk about the moment we're in the world.
Je ne laisserai personne sortir de cette pièce, ni quitter Lyon tant que les 14 milliards de dollars ne seront pas obtenus.
Bonjour, good day. I am the designated campaign manager for the partnership between the Global Fund, Rotary Australia World Community Service Limited, which is also known as RAWCS, and Rotarians Against Malaria, also known as RAM. RAM is an activity of RAWCS and was officially formed in 1995 to eliminate the instances of malaria in the Solomon Islands. Since then, RAM has been raising funds and supporting activities in neighbouring countries including Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste and also recently Vanuatu. Active participation by individual Rotarians has included fieldwork in these countries by assisting villages to improve their living conditions. It is a great pleasure to announce that RAWCS RAM will form a partnership with the Global Fund to fundraise $12 million over the next 5 years for continuing work much needed in these Asia-Pacific nations. Merci beaucoup pour cette opportunité.
Thanks, Mark, for that. That video shows Di Mason. He was a governor in the year that I was a governor here, talking at Lyon to that conference. And there was prior to that, there was a letter of intent signed between RAWCS RAM and the Global Fund. And April this year, there was a memorandum of understanding signed between the two parties. And the campaign is expected to extend at least over the next 4 years. On the 15th of October this year, a marketing consultant was appointed, and this was a consultant that was sought from around the world, and he's an excellent candidate, and he will develop up the strategic marketing plan and operational plans and the launch plan. This is clearly a milestone for RAM, and I can say that we are planning to launch this campaign at the Rotary International Convention in Taipei in June 2021. That currently is the plan. We're not sure whether the convention will go ahead, and if it does go ahead, in what form it will take. But anyway, the plan is to launch it then. And I can say that the target donors will be corporate bodies, both locally in Australia and overseas. We will not be approaching Rotary clubs and districts within Australia, as that is already an activity of Rorke's and RAM locally, and we are not going to tread on their toes. This is a partnership between Rorke's RAM and the Global Fund, and any suggestions about where we could raise $12 million will be welcome. Thank you, Mark.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tony. And Rotarians, we are people of action. We are the people that can help eliminate malaria. All we need is your support to make that a reality. We are good at this sort of stuff. So again, if you've got contacts in the corporate world, get in contact with Tony Spring. Get in contact with Libby, our representative for RAM, and she can tell you how you can get involved. So thank you, Libby. Thank you, Tony. And a special thank you again to you, Gloria.